Afternoon, Shannon in class. This is my project, Victor Up Church, on immigrants to the United States. My country, of course, is Cuba. First, I'll start by showing an image of the Cuban flag. This was drawn for me personally by one of my students. Shout out Renee Sharp. In this presentation, what I'll do is I'll go into some of the questions that were given to us as guide points for research, followed by an in-depth look at a couple of Cuban baseball stars who made hay first in Cuba and then were able to defect over to the United States and able to make it up to the major leagues, Major League Baseball, that is. So first we have Rene Rocha here, followed by Jose Fernandez, also Yasiel Puig. Lastly, we'll go into some graphs, show them quickly, that show recent migration patterns from Cuba here to the United States. First, going into a couple of the questions, a description of this group's unique cultural distinction. Mainly, what my research showed me is that primarily communism is what this country is primarily known for. In 1959, Fidel Castro overthrew the Batista Party and assumed the dictatorship over Cuba. During that time, most wealthy Cubans, who were primarily white, were immediately forced out and forced to migrate, ending up mostly on America's eastern shore. The second one, how and why did the group migrate? Again, communism was, again, the driving force in that. From 1965 through 1973, America, through President Lyndon B. Johnson, initiated a program known as the Freedom Flights in America, or in Spanish, known as the Los Vuelos de Libertad. Basically, these were twice-a-day flights where an estimated 300,000 Cubans were allowed to fly to flee communist rule from Cuba over into primarily southern states such as Florida. A couple of stereotypes for Cubans. A couple that I found where most people automatically assume Cubans all smoke cigars due to the most popular cigar type, the Cubans. Another one that most everybody assumes that all Cubans are communists just because that is the rule that they have operated under for so long. Lastly, the early dictators were called gusanos. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's the equivalent to what a worm is. So early defectors in the 50s and 60s were looked down upon, probably just by people who weren't able to make that same migration and were forced to live under communist rule.